So I did some analytical research, and on the podcast where we had a mystery instructor, the most reviewed section of that video was the part where we talk about supplying and jobs. So I think this will fill a lot of holes in people's hearts right now, so let's get going on that. Hello and welcome to Keeping Up with Candace. Today I got two very special guests. Who do we have today?
You can go first. Ella and Tiana.
Yeah, today we got some good stuff. The highly anticipated information that everybody wants to hear, supplying while we're still in school, or even supplying after we're done school, right? So first things first, I'm not supplying. Are you guys supplying?
I am.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna help me learn some information. Instead of me teaching you guys something, you guys are gonna teach me something, okay?
All right. We'll put our teacher hats
So,
on for you.
What is the first step to supplying? Where do I start? I shall say this is all unofficial information. I'm not an official source.
Okay, so honestly for me, I might have a different journey than Ella because I started supplying before I even got my transitional on the emergency supply list. And so how I started with that is I went to apply to education and I saw that the Hamilton Catholic Board had a posting. I applied, I got an interview in the summer of my first year after Teachers College, and that's how I started. And then after I got my transitional, I started supplying as a certified.
I had a similar journey. I applied to the Grand Erie Board around April for like a non-certified casual, so emergency as well. And then after I got my transitional in September, I emailed HR and told them about my transitional certificate, and then they put me on for the certified list after that.
Awesome. I'm on no lists, so I got nothing right now. But
Slow and steady.
Exactly. You said a key word there. You said the Transitional Certificate, which its full government name is Transitional Certificate of Qualification and Registration, which is a word we've heard floating around in our first year, and now we kind of get to use it in our second year, or maybe not. I'll get into that later. So the Transitional Certificate is for candidates who have completed at least 30 credits, aka your first year, and 40 practicum days of their initial teacher education program, but it probably varies by teacher program, right? You can only get your transitional after you have completed the application and submitted all required documents and fees, including a report from your faculty of ed. It is valid for 18 months from when you get it, and there's the possibility of a one-time 6-month extension if sort of a emergency scenario arises. If you hold a TCQR transitional, you gotta be in good standing, yep. And the cool part, up to 20 days of teaching with a transitional can be counted towards your meeting of a teacher education requirement. For your practicum, you could supply for 20 days, and those could count towards your practicum requirements overall.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that
seriously
either.
didn't know that.
This is also Brock specific, and other universities may incorporate the transitional certificate into their education programs differently than Brock has.
So good to know.
Yeah.
There is some asterisks on it, which I'll get to that later.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. I
Give
have
us
a lot
the
of
details.
questions. Yeah.
Yes. So for our program, we heard about the transitional in first year. We had some people talk about it at some professional development days, but we were still probably a little confused on it in general.
Yeah.
So later on, Brock sends us our a Microsoft form during the summer, and they say, if you want the transitional, fill out this form. Because we found out later, you have to make your whole OCT application and do all that stuff. But for the transitional, you have to have your OCT stuff handed in, and there's a segment for transitional where Brock themselves, we can't do anything about it. They don't give us a letter. Brock has to send something directly to the OCT that says we're certified. And there was a big drama that occurred last year. The eligibility, as I said, is you got to complete all year one coursework, have a minimum of 40 successful practicum days. We had 39 somehow. What happened last year, guys?
I had a snow day in my board.
I had a snow day
You
in
also
my
have
board.
I think I did too, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
All of us had a snow day, which
Yes.
meant technically everybody in our program had 39 successful practicum days.
Yeah.
So they told us initially, we had a meeting with somebody who wasn't associated with the school but was like repping the OCT, but they weren't totally in on what the situation was, and they just said, yeah, you've 39 days, you can't get it. And all of us were up in arms, quite frankly. But after some emails went back and forth, somebody important gave us the information that we will override that for you. If you guys have completed your practicum successfully, 39 days, 40 days, you guys are good to apply for your transitional. And so then they gave us the form again, and we filled out that form, and they sent it on their way. And then we all got the notice that Brock had sent in that information to the OCT, and we had our transitional, or we were on the next steps to get our transitional. So
Which kind of puts you a step ahead in second year if you want to start supplying to just get that done with. And I was really worried that what was going to happen with a form. It was just a form.
if we missed that deadline, there was another deadline that opened in November, and then I believe there's another one opened in February. But I would try to get one of those 3 narrowed down. What are some benefits of the transitional certificate?
The biggest benefit I would say is getting to supply and also having that full pay that you would have out of teachers college as a second year is so big. Like, you want to be able to make money at this point in our lives, or we're still paying for tuition, we're still paying for gas to get here. It's really helpful, at least for me. I find when I don't have class, or even the days when I have class in the morning, I can supply that half day, make it to the school. It gives me that opportunity to work while being in school and in the path that I want to eventually end up in, which is teaching.
Yeah, I find like from being like non or being on the emergency and now being on the actual supply list, it's a lot better. Because before you would just get called in the morning and it was very like happenstance. It wasn't guaranteed you would get a job, but now at least through my board you can get texts and then you can choose a job that way. So like Tiana said, when we're not in school, you can always just pick up a supply job when you want to. And I feel like it kind of makes you, it really like, you know, you can meet principals and other teachers and you can get a really good experience from you being the teacher, like the actual teacher yourself in it. So
Totally.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And you touched on it earlier. You were an emergency supply, and now we're a transitional, and we get that quote full pay. Do you get paid more from being an emergency now having your transitional? Do you get paid more?
Yeah, so now we get the same pay that certified teachers get. So once we finish teachers college and we get that full certification, the pay isn't going to be changing for us because that transitional gave us the opportunity to have the same pay as we would when we graduate.
Yeah, I think it's different for each board, but I'm pretty sure my board does the same. Like, I think I don't know how much more I make, but I know that now when I'm done school, I already have a career, so I can just jump right into like supplying full time now, which is
So you're saying you can transition easier into your And so you guys have been supplying during free days, right? Like I've heard some people are going like half days. They're doing they have class in the morning, supply in the afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. It's awesome. Like you're already up to be at class at 8 a.m.
Oh, exactly.
You finish at 10:50 with the classes we're taking, and a lot of the times the half days start at 11:30 or sometimes even 12:30, 12:50. So it gives you a lot of time to get from Brock to where your board is. Personally, I'm in the Hamilton Wentworth Catholic District Board, and I know Ella, you're in Grand Erie.
Yeah, Grand Erie District School Board. Yeah.
Yeah. So even with the schools that aren't in Niagara, we have time to supply those half days, the afternoons.
Yeah, and even like if you are off for like a full day but only want to work in the morning, you can do that, which is nice. So you can leave at 12 and then have the rest of your day free, which is nice. And like Tiana said, like even if you have class that day, you can still work if you really want to.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's great. And a lot of the teachers are probably understanding of that as well.
I haven't had the need to like email and be like, hey, I'm going to be late, but hopefully they would be accommodating.
They always appreciate when you come in and help out, which is
exactly.
nice.
They really do appreciate supply teachers.
Yeah.
Like, you're coming in, you're helping out. I know in elementary school, a lot of the times you're covering other classes too. Ella and I have talked about this before. You'll go in for like a grade 8 class, and during their French or music, you're on covering prep for a different teacher. They'll put you in a JK class, and you just gotta
whiplash.
And they appreciate it, and we like it too. So
Yeah, I got that energy, right?
yeah,
Exactly.
a different vibe going from grade 8
definitely.
to JK.
Yeah, for sure. Rewinding a little bit, to supply, you have to have your transitional, but in between that, you have to somehow get on the supply list, on the OT list. How did you guys manage to get on that list? You have to apply for it like a job? How does that work?
So for me, I started off in the emergency, and from there, as soon as I got my transitional, I emailed the HR and I said, hey, I have my transitional. I want to be on the occasional certified list now that I am able to. And they were super accommodating. They set up an interview for me to then move on to that list. And after the interview, I was all set to go. So it was 2 interviews, one for the emergency, one for the occasional, but same idea for both interviews.
Yeah, mine was a little bit different. I only had the one interview for the emergency, and when I got my transitional, I messaged HR and they just moved me on to the elementary one, so I didn't have to go through that interview process, but I think every board's a little bit different that
Yeah,
way.
definitely varies board to board.
Yeah.
I'm curious about what you used for references, because I've seen some things where you have to have a principal. I've seen some things where it's just 3 professional references. You want to talk about the references for a minute? Because I think that's some sought-after info.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I didn't really change. Well, I had so for references, I used my associate teacher so I only had one at the time because I was still in my first year. And then I had a principal that I worked with a lot from my hometown that I had as well. And I kind of just accumulated from my past experiences with children to those references as well. So that was really all I had. But my main ones were definitely the principal and my associate teacher as well. But yeah.
For me, similar. I had my first associate teacher who wrote me a reference letter. And then in my first year of Teachers College, I went to a school and I volunteered at the science fair, and the principal wrote me a reference. However, I will say the Hamilton board did accept that, but when I applied to Halton and they were reviewing it, they asked for me to have somebody who supervised me more extensively. So then, since at that point I had done my second placement and finished it, I just asked my second associate to write me a reference, and that was fine. But for the application portion, Halton was fine with that. Once I was on, they just wanted me to have that, which didn't take much to, get.
That's great. I've been through, my 2 placements as well. It's like I don't necessarily have a principal that can vouch for me, but I've got some associate teachers. So you're saying I don't necessarily need a principal, maybe just someone that supervised me closely. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Right. It probably varies too by board, but
right. In the Halton case, they would actually have preferred somebody who was working closely with me than the principal who did write me a reference, but was just with me for that full day.
Yeah, I will say I had my principal for my last placement watch one of my lessons, and they agreed to be my reference, but I feel like with working with the other principal I was working with them for a number of years already, so they know me a lot better, but definitely any reference you can get is a good reference, and it's always appreciated when somebody will be your reference. And
even some of our instructors at Brock have offered to be our references.
many even.
Ella has the gym instructor who she took her up on that offer.
I did,
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm asking the drama teacher as well. A lot of the profs are very open to being references because they know you need references. They know you want them. So, I think I was pretty good in drama. I was enjoying myself. I told her I might want to do drama, like teaching in the future. So she's even offered to come watch me in Aurelia somehow if she can find a way. So
that's so sweet. You need
No,
to
it's
put on a
excellent.
really good
Drama
Yeah.
lesson,
or
Yeah,
ask
exactly.
her through mime.
Yeah.
Please, right. We're gonna now have some fun facts.
Okay.
True or false? Actually, I'm gonna have you guys guess.
Okay, yeah.
True or
I'm
false?
scared.
True or false? You are not required to pass the math proficiency test to obtain the transitional.
True. I know this is true.
Ella?
I'm gonna go with Tiana because I'm not sure.
Yeah. So it is true. You do not need
Yeah.
to pass the math test, the math proficiency test to get the transitional certificate. But for your full OCT certification, you do have to pass the math proficiency test.
Yeah.
So if you're putting it off, if you're a procrastinator, you can put it off even more if you want to.
Shout out to Zoe and Haley for talking about that on the
Yeah,
pod. So
exactly.
go watch that.
Yeah, if you want to know more, Zoe and Haley, I caught Zoe learning some information on the fly, so it was an excellent learning experience. So, also with the transitional, true or false, you are more easily able to transition to your full certification when you have the transitional certificate. We spoiled this one, but
I think
Okay, so
is it
true because based off what you
it
said.
is true.
Okay, good.
So let's say in June when your degree is conferred, or even in April when we're done our program, let's say you didn't have the transitional, then you have to upload all your information,
That is
and you have to wait for that last piece of your degree getting
Yeah,
conferred, and they
Okay.
slotting that into your OCT profile as well. But if you have your transitional, you've already got everything ready and you're just waiting for the degree to get conferred and them to swap it over. So you're waiting on one step if you have the transitional, or you're waiting on like 15 steps if you're starting from scratch and you haven't done it yet. So
Okay, good to know. That
is good
I made
to
my life a
know.
little easier.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You do have to pay some bucks to do it, but
Yeah, you do.
but it's for 18 months.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got
And
that
actually,
over with.
a lot of people were confusing that there's an OCT certification fee you got to pay every year, and there's the transitional fee. So for me, didn't realize we couldn't use the transitional in the second block, so I bought my OCT certification for last year, couldn't use it, but I'd also bought the transitional the same time, and the transitional is good for 18 months, so I can still use that, but for the OCT one, I gotta rebuy that one. So maybe don't buy the OCT fee until the new year of your graduating year. True or false? This one actually Tiana gave me. You can supply in secondary without a teachable if you're on the supply list. Real quick, I want to add an asterisk to this next point of discussion. After talking a bit more, we realize this is likely a school board specific policy and your mileage may vary. Some school boards may allow this while others may not, so I would suggest you do some of your own research to determine if this is applicable for your board. I think it's true. I thought it was false, but apparently it's true.
Well, also, if you wanted to supply down, like lower grades.
Down as well, yes.
Because Ella's taken full day
kindergarten classes,
and we're JI. So if you're maybe interested in feeling out a primary class, you could do that supplying as well.
It's actually a great way because in our program, I'm not going to get a high school placement even though I'm grade 4 to 10.
Yeah.
So I can scout that out if I wanted to. That's actually a good. I didn't know that. Catching me on the fly, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like Tiana said earlier, grade 8 to kindergarten is definitely a very different experience. But it's nice with the supplying because we can shift between the two, and it definitely opens up your eyes to like what other teachers, even our fellow classmates during their practicums, if they're in kindergarten, with their
like the classroom management techniques are very different in a intermediate class and a primary class. And coming from only doing intermediate in my placements, it was a learning curve to figure out what's going to work for these younger students.
And if we already know that your growth exponentially increases when you're in practicum, having more supply jobs will just get you further down the road than somebody else, right?
Exactly.
Now for some big, maybe controversy, supplying during practicum with the transitional. This year, Brock gave us the opportunity to apply for the transitional, I believe during like August or something like that. So we could have had the transitional almost before school started, or I think a couple weeks into it. And I thought that was leading up to them saying, you can use your transitional during your second block. It did not. I'm going to read just right from it here. Block 3 is the only practicum block where there is an opportunity for teacher candidates to engage in paid supply or LTO positions. You got to have a transitional certificate, and based on the structure, be aware LTO positions cannot begin until after the first 2 weeks of your placement have been completed. You need to get approval from your associate teacher, the teacher education program, and school administration 10 days prior to the start date of your LTO contract.
Wow.
The program will not change your school board replacement, so you'd have to be, I believe, within your school as well.
I'm always browsing at LTOs, and I will say they usually say start immediately. So to have that kind of buffer is kind of hard when you're trying to, secure an LTO. It seems almost impossible.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's how it was this year. I'm hoping it can change for future years, right? Supplying. Teacher candidates may engage in supply teaching for no more than 3 days per week during the final block, and they have to be notified of any of these supply days. And it also can't start until after those first 2 weeks.
That's better than our last block. I'm happy to hear that we're given something. And also, once that placement ends, we are done Teachers College, and we have from April to June to supply. So for me, that is a really big benefit as well. So even if I don't secure that LTO or I'm not able to supply as much as I want during placement, at least I know that once that last placement is done, Teachers College is done, and we are set for supplying.
That's the point too. Like I'm kind of stressing over this like transitional stuff, but really, instead of worrying about having an LTO for 2 weeks and trying to get that sorted, or having to supply for 6 days, after that 4-week, 5-week placement is done, we're in the out in the world anyways. So.
Exactly.
You might as well just get the experience from your last placement with your associate teacher before you go off to the big scary world by yourself, right?
Yeah.
You might as well take the knowledge that you can gain from it, and then afterwards you can worry about applying for an LTO and all that.
Yeah. I shall say this is all unofficial information. I'm not an official source. Make your own opinions. We're just giving you how it is. Right now, today, we're telling you how it is. So, but yeah, the transitional was a point of confusion and I guess a little controversy this year.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think supplying for you guys is going well. I've heard some good stories from you guys.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
And that kind of how we can end this off. Do you have any funny stories from supplying?
Oh, I got one. Last week I went supplying, and this isn't to discourage anyone because I will say it's so intimidating first starting out. You're so nervous, you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
But it is what you make of it. So this story here just goes to show that it could feel like something like this could happen, but there's always a positive in the end. So I get into the class and they're all in their seats and I'm doing attendance. After I'm done attendance, they're, silently working. One of the students comes up to me and she's like, "Miss, those two students there, they're not sitting in the right spot." And she's very worried and concerned, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll deal with it." So I go up to them and I'm like, "You guys need to be honest with me right now. Are these your spots?" And right away, they look at me. They're a little nervous. I'm like, "You're not in trouble." I was a student too, you try and pull a funny prank on your supply teacher.
Yeah.
And they said no, and they scurried off to their own desks. But the lesson in that is that there is always that one student in the class who's going to tell you if you're on the right direction or you're doing things how they typically do it in the classroom.
Yeah, actually, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, I was supplying for a class as well, and some of the students were trying to give me fake names. And when you first get into the class, right, you don't know the students. So when they tell you it's their name, there's always, like Tiana said, there's always that one student where he'd be like, "Is that their real name?"
Yeah.
And some of them, they do come up with ridiculous names, but for one of my students, I actually thought it was their name. And it wasn't until I started taking attendance in the, because I asked them all their name, and then I took attendance, and I was like, "Wait a minute." And then,
I will say, in the day of supplying, by the end of the day, you know those students as well as you can in a day. I know their names, I know some of their interests, I know the ones that are gonna try and prank me, and the one I can be like, "Can you help me find the staff room?" And they'll lead me there. So, never a boring day supplying.
No, it's always you're always on your toes, but it does make the day go by faster, and I feel like after you supply a day, you really make a connection with the kids, and then if you do supply for that same class, then they know you and you know them, and then that you keep on doing it, and then you form a real bond with them.
Even the same school, I'll go into a school, different class, they recognize you. They'll be like, "Miss, hey!" I'm like, "Hey!" It seriously is really fun. I really you need to get on supply.
Yeah, you
get
do.
on that list.
I will. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay, fine. You
Convinced
convinced me.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've won me over. Do you feel respected as supply teachers in the school?
I think it is what you make it. So the kids are the ones who you walk in and they're like, "Yes, we have a supply. We can do whatever we want." But you get in there, you introduce yourself, you let them know that you're serious, you have rules. The bathroom one's the biggest thing because you know how they are. They're all trying to go to the bathroom at the same time, keeping a bathroom log, telling them, "These are my rules, whatever you may have." Some of mine are like, "Don't talk over me, raise your hand." Same ideas what you would give the kids in placement, and they are respectful after that. And I've had really great experience with staff members too, just saying hi, good morning, good afternoon. They're responding respectfully too. All the teachers that I've met in my board have been super lovely and welcoming, so I've yet to have a negative experience to share.
I find the principals and the teachers, they're always very "Thank you for coming in, we really appreciate it," and it just shows that it really changes your day when that happens, because then you're I'm making a difference here, And kids can be silly sometimes, but when you build a bond with them and you kind of try to get to know them, when you respect them, they will respect you.
Yes, exactly.
Like Tiana said, learn their names.
Yeah.
Ask them some questions about their interests, and then they'll be like, "Okay, you're not just a random supply teacher."
Exactly.
Knowing their names can be so impactful.
Exactly.
That, just as simple as that, yelling their name, "Oh, they know who I am." Oh no.
Because it's very different from going "you over there" and
Child.
But
I got not a supply story, but a day where I was on my practicum and we had a supply. It was the only day where we had a supply.
Okay.
So my teacher, shout out him, he was awesome. He'd been there for a while. You know, he had some rep in the school. He had some pull. And so we have a supply one day. It's this excellent supply teacher. She was awesome. Her whole thing was she would document like every single thing that happened, so there was no room for like misinterpretations or a kid saying this happened, this didn't happen. A lot of good stuff. We have recess, and then we have lunch, and we've got about 5 minutes left in lunch. And so I'm like fully teaching that day. The supply is just kind of helping me out if I need it. So I'm waiting by the Chromebooks, and this other teacher walks into the room, looks at the Chromebook, sees my name scribbled on it, looks over at me because I'm sitting beside it. He's like, "Did you book the Chromebooks?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm getting observed. What do you need, man?" He's like, "You can't be booking the Chromebooks all this time. French booked it in the morning. That doesn't count for you as well. You can't be doing that." And I'm thinking, I'm a professional. Yeah. I'm a professional. This is the hardest test of my life. How am I gonna deal with this? He's like, "You can't be booking the Chromebooks, man." I'm like, "Hey, I'm getting observed. I kind of need them for this double period." And you book them like 10 days in advance, right? So the point is, this guy's a little like stressed. Okay, what do I do here? Do I say buzz off? No. The supply is basically seeing how I'm dealing with it. So she's giving me a little test as well. And so I'm like, "Hey, what do you need me to do? I'm a little supply teacher right now, basically. What do you need me to do?"
Yeah.
He's like, I need the Chromebooks for this period." "Okay, take them. You can take them. I will manage. You take the Chromebooks. I will manage my class somehow. I will help you out." Okay, and he was like, "Thanks," and then he left. And he took the Chromebooks. And then my coding lesson, funny enough, shout out Pierce if he was here right now. He'd love to hear this, but it was amazing because I just had them write out their code on paper, which I wasn't going to do, and then I had them do the coding during the second half of the 100-minute period. So it worked out good, and I got to save some morale, and I didn't get yelled at by a teacher who was having a day. So
you're gonna be a perfect supply teacher because it's all about moving on the fly. You go in, you don't know where you're gonna be during prep. You don't know what resources are there. You don't know what the plans say. So having that is
especially if you're doing like because there's supply jobs, but there's also like supply like planning time jobs where you're just kind of going in, babysitting a class kind of, I guess. But
I will say what I want to start doing, and this is a tip I'll give to you when you start supplying or whoever is taking this. I want to print out worksheets and have them in my bag because sometimes even if a teacher leaves you very detailed plans, they don't know how fast the students are going to get through it. And then you're like, what do I do? And you need to be able to have that with you. So that's my tip of the day.
I'm going to steal your tip and elaborate on it. I should have mentioned that. My AT always told me you got to have your back pocket stuff ready. Even for my drama stuff, I have a lot of back pocket drama stuff ready to go. Even like little mini games like rocket ship, I don't know, count to 10, but if you say the same number, you restart. Just little stuff like that to kind of make sure you have a plan. Because for me, when they can see through you and see you don't have a plan, that's when problems happen. Even if you're hanging on by a thread, even if you're an inch ahead of them, if you have a plan, then I think that helps you tenfold.
You can't show that you're like struggling.
You
gotta really
you're the teacher in the room. But the worksheets printing out, I'm gonna start doing that because what I've been doing is we did this in one of our class. Somebody remind me. You draw 30 circles, and in 30 seconds, you have to make images with those 30 circles. So they'll make like a sun or a dog or a pancake, something like that. And then that takes up a lot of time because, one, you don't need a worksheet for it. You can if you want the perfect circles, but you don't need it. And two, you get to talk about it with them. What did you make? Oh, I made the same thing. And, there's a lot of back pocket things.
Some of the students that I supplied for, they really like the Wordle or the World.
Yes, they love
we'll
that.
do that.
That's a great one, actually, yes.
Or we'll do Silent Ball sometimes. That's a good
That was my
team-building
favorite one as a
exercise.
kid,
Or like 7-Up. Like,
7-Up's a good one, too. They love that one.
And it keeps them engaged.
Actually, shout out to my group that we did an inquiry project in our first year math or some sort of, I don't remember what. I think it was cognition class maybe. We did some research on what kind of brain games worked best for classes, and the ones that were the most effective, where they were engaged but also behaved and also learned, were the games that were cross-curricular. So kind of Silent Ball, but with math. They would behave and they would learn a little bit. I don't know, what's 7-Up with math, like some other game with English or something. I like doing Around the World. I think you might have said that, but just multiplication table, stuff like that. Those games were the most effective scientifically, so.
In my placement, we did a game where they had 2 fly spotters, and we were learning about natural resources, so like non-renewable and renewable ones. So on the board, I wrote non-renewable and renewable, and then I would shout out a resource, and they had to spot if it was renewable or non-renewable, and whoever got it wrong, like, switched with another person. But I found it really got them to, like, you know, learn the content, and they also loved it. They would ask all the time
I
if
would
they could
love
play
that.
it. I know, I was kind of like, can I join?
Yeah, can I play?
Yeah.
Oh, I would and around the world I would totally play after a while.
Yeah,
That's what I do.
That's an awesome part about being a teacher too. Is like we get to relive those experiences again, just through the teacher. But you get to have fun with it too. Again, they can feel when you're having fun.
Yeah.
They can feel when you're stressed. So it's about making the most of it.
Yeah, I would definitely say, like, learn from your AT too. Like, the fly swatter game I got from my AT in my last placement, and, like, you can see when they're doing it with the students how the students are engaging, and you're kind of like, you put it in the back of your head that you do that too. Yeah.
That was an amazing discussion. We had to talk about a lot of important stuff. What would your closing message be to somebody who's worried about getting on the supply list and a little bit nervous, a little bit procrastination bound to take their time on that kind of stuff? What would you tell them?
I would say get it done sooner rather than later, because having it all done now feels like it's something less on your plate, you know? And then, like, the sooner you can get into schools and start making money and getting to bond with students and teachers, the better, because that will put you a lot more ahead than, sorry not to stress you out, you know,
My advice is supplying can feel super daunting when you haven't done it before, but don't let that discourage you. It's super awesome. It's a great experience. Like Ella said, the networking that you make is awesome. Just to see what school do I want to end up in long term, getting the opportunity to supply for a day, or sometimes there are weeks where you go in. Having that opportunity is really valuable. And start supplying, Jacob.
Okay. Well, yeah, thank you guys for sharing all your crucial information.
Yeah.
Guys, I gotta leave because I gotta go supply, or I gotta go get on the supply list. I gotta go do a lot of applications right now, so we're gonna have to call it there. But thanks for coming out. Thanks for coming, Tiana. No problem.
Fun.
And that's about it. Hopefully this helps. I'm sure it will. I think that we got a banger here. So yeah,
So.
Yeah, me too.
that's about it. Thanks for watching. We'll wave for the cameras. Bye. Now too.